Welcome back. In my hand, I'm not just holding coins, I'm holding fragments of time. Each coin carries within it a hidden story, a silent witness to the moments that shaped American history. These coins saw the end of silver, the rise of new metals, and how small mistakes transformed into priceless treasures. Look closely. Every color, every texture, every tiny flaw hides a secret of its own. Some coins were born from error, some from change, and some escaped the flow of time itself, as if history chose to preserve them. Today, we'll uncover the stories behind these coins, one by one, and discover how the Washington quarter evolved from ordinary metal into a piece of hidden fortune. Before we begin, don't forget to subscribe to the channel and press the bell icon so you never miss any upcoming videos about rare and valuable coins. The story of the 1980 Washington quarter is more than just about a coin. It's a mystery, a hidden chapter of American minting history wrapped in metal and time. During an era when the U.S. economy was booming and the demand for circulating coins was sky high. The U.S. Mint worked around the clock. Inside the roaring halls of the Denver Mint, copper and nickel sheets clashed under the pounding of heavy presses. Millions of coins were struck every hour, yet among those countless strikes, a few carried secrets that turned them from ordinary pieces of change into numismatic mysteries. Bitcoin wasn't just metal, it was a symbol of a transition. The U.S. had already moved away from silver coins, adopting a copper-nickel-clad composition instead. Each quarter contained 91.67% copper and 8.33% nickel, strong, shiny, but unpredictable. Even a tiny fluctuation in pressure, temperature, or alignment could create a rare minting error, transforming a regular quarter into a collector's treasure. On the obverse, we see George Washington's portrait, designed by sculptor John Flanagan back in 1932. But in 1980, with so many dies working under extreme speed, even the smallest vibration or shift could cause a double die obverse where the inscriptions "Liberty" or "In God We Trust" appear slightly doubled. This wasn't just a minting mistake. It was a frozen moment in history, captured forever on a coin's surface. Then there's the filled D-mint mark, one of the most intriguing varieties of this issue. Normally, the D identifies the Denver Mint, but in some coins, it appears clogged, filled, or partially missing, as if someone tried to hide it deliberately. In reality, this occurs due to grease fill or metal clogging during striking, but to collectors adds a touch of mystery that makes these coins, especially other errors, tell their own fascinating stories. The off-center strike variety, bad for example, occurs when the blank metal disc isn't properly seated under the dies, causing the design to be misaligned. Some show Washington's face sliding off the coin, or the eagle's wings partially missing, depending on how far off-center the strike is, to 5%, 10%, or even 30%. These can range in value from $100 to $1,000 or more. Another dramatic type is the clipped planchette, where a portion of the coin's edge appears to be bitten off. This happens when the metal sheet overlaps slightly during the cutting stage. But when such an error escapes the mint, it becomes a prized collectible, often called a bite of history. In some cases, struck-through errors appear, where a foreign object like grease, cloth fiber, or metal debris gets caught during striking, leaving ghostly impressions or cloudy textures that give the coin an eerie, one-of-a-kind look. Even the color of these coins can carry a story. Some 1980D quarters developed rainbow toning over time, vibrant blue, gold, and violet shades dancing across the surface. This happens due to uneven metal layering or long-term oxidation. But for collectors, it turns an already interesting coin into a work of art. AS for value. It all depends on condition and rarity. A typical circulated 1980D quarter might be worth just a few cents, but an uncirculated MS65 Plus coin can fetch between $40 and $120. High-grade examples, such as MS67 Plus, can command prices from $2,000 to $10,000, and if you happen to find a major error, a clear double die, filled D, or significant off-center strike, the value could soar to $15,000, $50,000, or even higher at auction. Many people don't realize that these treasures might already be in their homes, in an old drawer, a forgotten coin jar, or loose change passed down from decades ago. With a simple magnifying glass, examine the D mint mark closely. But look at the edges of the letters, the clarity of Washington's face, and the alignment of the design. But sometimes, the smallest detail, a faint doubling, a clipped edge, or a hidden mark can turn an ordinary coin into something truly extraordinary. The 1980 Washington quarter remains one of the most intriguing coins of the modern era. A perfect blend of mystery, craftsmanship, and chance. It reminds us that even in mass production, a single imperfection can create a masterpiece. And that sometimes what looks ordinary at first glance may just be hiding a fortune in plain sight. The 1966 Washington quarter is one of those coins that silently carries the weight of change, not just in metal, but in American history itself. At first glance, it looks ordinary. A simple copper-nickel coin with Washington's calm face staring confidently into the future. But look a little deeper, and you'll uncover a tale of transition, secrecy, and survival, a coin born in the middle of chaos at the U.S. Mint. When the very concept of money in America was being redefined, it was the mid-1960s, a time when silver was disappearing from circulating coins. B.U.S. Mint, under enormous public pressure and facing a nationwide coin shortage, decided to remove silver from dimes and quarters. By 1966, the Mint was producing millions of new clad coins made of 91.67% copper and 8.33% nickel, instead of the traditional 90% silver alloy. This decision, while practical, stirred controversy. Many Americans distrusted the new coins, calling them fake silver, unaware that decades later, Devon 966 quarter would become a symbol of one of the most dramatic shifts in U.S. coinage history. Denver and San Francisco mints had temporarily halted their mint marks during this period, a deliberate move by the mint to prevent coin hoarding. BAT means every 1966 quarter UC carries no mint mark, adding an air of anonymity and mystery to its origin. Was it struck in Philadelphia, Denver, San Francisco? No one can say for sure, and that mystery alone makes this coin unlike any other Washington quarter ever made. On the obverse, George Washington's portrait, designed by John Flanagan, remains strong and dignified, but among the millions struck, a few carry subtle flaws, those fleeting mechanical errors that transform ordinary coins into numismatic wonders. Some double die obverse examples show slight doubling on the word liberty or on Washington's I and hair. These small distortions, invisible to the naked eye, become priceless under magnification. Then there are the struck-through errors, coins where a stray piece of metal, grease, or cloth fiber slipped between the die and the planchette during striking. The result is an eerie ghost-like texture, a smudge in history that no one can perfectly explain. Some 1966 quarters even display clipped bick, where the edge looks as if it's been bitten off, caused when overlapping metal strips were cut too close together before minting. These bitten coins are rare and highly collectible. A few quarters also exhibit die cracks or cut, where the striking die itself fractured from overuse, leaving raised lines or missing design chunks on the coin's surface. These imperfections aren't just errors, they're signatures of the mint's exhaustion, physical proof of the industrial struggle that shaped modern American coinage. Today, most 1966 quarters in circulation hold only their face value, 25 cents, but those preserved in pristine, uncirculated MS-65 plus condition can fetch $30 to $120, while top-graded examples, MS-67 plus, are valued at $1,000 to $5,000. Major error coins, depending on their visibility and rarity, can climb beyond $10,000, with collectors constantly hunting for the most unique survivors of that turbulent minting era. What makes the 1966 quarter so captivating isn't just its metal or its minting flaws, art. It's the mystery it carries. Every piece is a relic of a moment when America's money changed forever. But when silver disappeared and trust had to be rebuilt, each coin whispers the same secret story. But even in times of uncertainty and transformation, something new, something enduring can be born from chaos. The year 1973 marked a calm yet pivotal period in the story of U.S. coinage. By this time, silver coins had almost completely vanished from circulation, replaced by a modern copper-nickel-clad system. These new coins were stronger, more durable, and shined with a metallic brightness. But they lacked the timeless luster and emotional weight of the old silver pieces. The 1973 Washington quarter was struck at 3 mints: Philadelphia, no mint mark; Denver D, and San Francisco S. The Philadelphia and Denver issues were made for everyday circulation, while the San Francisco Mint produced the special proof coins, mirror-like collector additions meant to showcase the mint's precision and craftsmanship. On the obverse, the familiar portrait of George Washington, designed by John Flanagan in 1932, stands as a proud symbol of the nation's enduring legacy. On the reverse, the bald eagle, perched on a rock and clutching olive branches in its talons, represents strength balanced by peace, a design that had become a national emblem for over 4 decades. But what makes 1973 truly special isn't a dramatic design change or a groundbreaking error. It's the quiet perfection behind its creation. This was the year the Mint refined its striking technology, improving precision and reducing the number of minting flaws. Even so, a few fascinating mint errors and varieties slipped through, each telling its own small story from the heart of America's minting machines. Notable varieties and errors. Off-center strikes. Some coins were struck slightly off alignment, leaving parts of the design missing. Depending on the degree of the error, these can be worth $50 to $300. Clipped planchettes. A few coins show portions of the edge missing, caused by metal sheet misfeeds. A mechanical hiccup that collectors love to find. Die breaks or cuts. Overused dies occasionally cracked, leaving raised lines or missing areas in the design. Subtle scars that mark the Mint's relentless pace. Value and rarity. Our regular circulated 1973 quarter still holds its face value, 25 cents, but those preserved in uncirculated MS65 Plus condition can sell for $30 to $120. High-grade specimens, MS67 Plus, have fetched $1,000 to $3,000 at auctions. Especially those with untouched mint luster or beautiful rainbow toning. Collector's note. Proof coins from the San Francisco Mint bearing the S mint mark are the true gems of 1973. With their mirror-like finish and crisp strike, they stand as shining examples of the Mint's technical mastery during this era. While the Washington Quarter may not be famous for dramatic minting errors or shocking rarity, it represents something far greater, the perfection of modern minting. It tells the story of a mint that had overcome years of transition, mastering its craft and setting a new standard for the decades to come. The 1965 Washington Quarter stands as one of the most fascinating and mysterious coins in the entire lineage of U.S. currency, a relic born at a time when America's coinage system was undergoing a seismic shift. This was the year the U.S. Mint eliminated silver from its quarters, replacing the traditional 90% silver alloy with a copper-nickel clad composition. The decision came during the nationwide silver shortage, when rising metal prices threatened the stability of everyday commerce. But what followed was more than a simple material change. Beginning of one of the most intriguing chapters in numismatic history, as the Mint raced to meet the overwhelming public demand. An extraordinary mistake slipped through. A small number of 1965 quarters were accidentally struck on leftover 1964 silver. These rare transitional errors defied official policy and logic, their very existence challenging what collectors thought possible. To the untrained eye, they look identical to regular coins. Yet, their secret lies in their weight. 6.25 grams instead of the standard 5.67, and in the distinctive silvery tone that sets them apart. On the obverse, George Washington's portrait, crafted by sculptor John Flanagan, appears as steady and noble as ever, symbolizing continuity in a time of change. The reverse showcases the bald eagle clutching arrows and olive branches. It swings out, reflection of the nation's resilience and balance between strength and peace. But behind that familiar design lies a story of human error, transition, and silent rebellion within the mint's walls. Many collectors believe that a few mint workers knowingly allowed silver planchettes to be struck, preserving a piece of the past for future generations. Over time, countless error varieties also emerged. Off-center strikes, double die impressions, and clipped planchettes, each representing a glimpse into the mechanical imperfection of an overworked minting process. The regular 1965 quarters made of copper nickel still hold nostalgic value as the first of their kind, marking the dawn of modern U.S. coinage. Yet the few that were born in silver have become legends, whispered about in collector circles, searched for in old rolls, and treasured by those lucky enough to find one. The 1965 Washington quarter, therefore, is more than just a coin. It's a symbol of transformation, a mystery that bridges two eras, and a reminder that even the smallest piece of metal can carry within it the story of an entire nation's evolution. The 1968 Washington quarter carries with it an air of quiet mystery and transformation, a coin that emerged in the shadow of monumental change within the U.S. minting system after the Great Shift of 1965. When silver was permanently removed from circulating quarters, 1968 marked the first year the mint mark returned, now carefully placed on the obverse side of the coin, just to the right of George Washington's ribbon. This small yet symbolic detail represented more than design, reflected the mint's renewed sense of precision and identity in a post-silver era. Bestruck at the Denver, San Francisco, and Philadelphia mints, the 1968 quarters were made of a copper-nickel clad. Composition 91.67%. Copper and 8.33%. Nickel, giving them a durable shine meant to survive decades of circulation. But beneath this modern composition lay stories of subtle errors, hidden varieties, and a lingering nostalgia for the vanished luster of silver. The obverse, George Washington's portrait by John Flanagan stands with enduring dignity, his gaze steady as though witnessing the nation's shifting values. The reverse features the proud bald eagle, wings spread wide and clutching arrows and olives, branch eyes, a symbol of balance between strength and peace, power and restraint. Yet even in its familiar beauty, the 1968 quarter conceals surprises. A rare few exhibit double dies, where letters in Liberty or in God We Trust appear faintly doubled, giving the design a ghostly echo. Others were struck slightly off-center or with filled mint marks. Small imperfections that transformed everyday coins into treasures for collectors. The San Francisco Mint, which that year produced proof coins for collectors, added another layer of fascination. Mirrored surfaces and sharp strikes that captured every fine detail of the design. Though most circulated 1968 quarters hold only their face value, pristine uncirculated examples and proof strikes can command impressive sums, with flawless PR70 proofs fetching hundreds of dollars and unique error coins climbing much higher. Each 1968 quarter tells a story not just of metal and minting, but of transition and endurance, of how a nation learned to preserve beauty and trust in its currency even as the Silver Age faded away. Hidden in drawers, change jars, and forgotten collections, these coins remain silent, witnesses to America's evolving identity, proof that even the most ordinary coin can carry within it a piece of mystery, a history, and the heartbeat of a changing era.